What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Discord Friday. If you guys are new here, this is the Warehouse Series. I do online training for selection. Guys, I do have a playlist with forklift videos on there if you want to go check that out as well. If you are brand new and you've thrown the perishable produce warehouse or dry goods, please go check out my cross and T video part 2 through 4. Guys, they are really beneficial to help just your basic building blocks of building cases that are, you're getting a variety of different cases, okay? So it doesn't work if you're throwing all bigger cases. It's whenever you get a variety of cases that cross and T videos can come into play. Subscribe to the channel if you guys want to donate. It's much appreciated. Join that Discord. That link is in the description below. And this is my eBay store if you want to check it out. Guys, we are going over some block again. I talked about this on the earlier video this week, and I just think it's a subject that I have touched on in the past, but I just want to reiterate some stuff. Here's the pictures that I showed earlier this week. We have a 5 block that I'm going to talk about. We have a 6 block I'm going to talk about, and we have a 7 block I'm going to talk about. Now, the 5 block, if you're imperishable, you get your lettuces, your grapes, your apples, all that stuff, okay? They all come in 5 blocks. And down in dry goods, you're going to get the big paper towels. You're going to get the big napkins that usually come in a 5 block as well. So if this was dry goods, and these were 2 big paper towels. So the shaded areas, they're zeros, all right? We got 2 cases. So I'm gonna grab those big paper towels, and I'm gonna put one here, and I'm gonna put one there, okay? So you're still following the block. We're not gonna take this and put a cereal box here in the corner and then have this in the middle. All right, because that's sort of what I was telling the person in the video earlier this week with the Angel Soft they had. You're not going to put it in the middle of the pallet because that is not the proper way. It comes off the pallet. So even if we get 2 cases, you still want to follow the concept of the 5 block. So here's the 2 cases. And here, I do also want to say, if this is perishable and I'm getting, apples, well, the big flat apple boxes, they're a little bit, they're not as high. So I tend to column stack them. So if I'm only going to get 2 apples, I'll column stack them right on the corner of my front pallet or front of my jack. And the reason being is because they sort of like have a give on the top of their box. And if you start putting heavy oranges or something on top of that box, it's going to crush it. So I like to put with the apples like cases on top of it. So like grapes or something to that nature, the open grapes, open apples, the big flat boxes that are going to fit directly on top of those. If you get lettuces, if I only get 2 lettuces, I also column stack them because they got that dip in the top of the box, and something is not going to fit flush on there unless it fits over to the border of that case. So produce, 2 cases, I'm column stacking. Dry goods, big paper towels, I'm stacking like this. And that also goes for you guys, when you get your big chickens and stuff like that, I would treat that like an apple box. If I only got 2 of them, I'm also going to stack them, column stack them. All right. It's the big, tall cases that if you column stack paper towels, the big, tall paper towels, they're probably going to tip over. So that's why I stack them like this. Now, let's say I get 4 paper towels. It all depends on what's coming next. This is why I tell people all the time, they're like, what would you do in this situation? Well, it all depends on what's coming next in the warehouse. So if I got cereals coming, then maybe I'm going to slide this case up here and I could stack my cereals on end on the back of the back corner, because that's still going to give me a solid corner. But let's say I had smaller cereal boxes coming up, like or cereal bars. All right, so let's say I had smaller cases coming up, and so let's say I start off in paper towels and I get 4 paper towels, and immediately after that I'm getting smaller cases like Pop-Tarts or something to that nature. I am going to put one on the corner, and I'm going to leave this middle section open that I could stack those little cases in here, knowing that all 4 of my corners are going to be level. I told you, it's so nice to know that when you have 4 level corners, more than likely your pallet is going to be nice and square. So I'm going to mess with all this stuff in here and try to either equal this or get it darn close, and then I will try to tie it at a later time. But this is how I would throw 4 of the big napkins or 4 of the bigger paper towels. Now up to perishable, if I had 4, I'm doing column stack 2, column stack 2. All right, so if I get 4 lettuces, I'm going to do 2 here and 2 here, column stacked. Different thing, up a perishable than I do down dry goods because of the height of the case. So when the height of the case isn't as high, I don't mind column stacking them. All right, now I want to show you this, okay? So 6 block is what cereals come in. Now, if I get 6 cereals, I'm going to stack them just like this. Now, remember, guys, not all your cereal boxes height-wise are the same size. So if I'm 6 blocking these, I am still keeping the concept that I want my corners higher than the inside. So I don't want a high box here, a low box here and a high box here. I'm still keeping the same concept. Now, this is a 7 block. You can get away with 7 block in your serials as well if you put them up on end. And I will do this. I don't care if I have 6 of these down and I find out I'm getting that 7th box. I'll flip all these up on end. It's literally, guys, I don't mind touching cases twice if it's going to help the integrity of my pallet, especially when I'm first starting out on the base. When I get higher up on my pallet, I tend to touch cases only once. But when I'm on my base and I know this is going to also save me room, then I am touching cases. I really don't care because I know I'm going to be able to move faster through the rest of my order. Now, if I put my serials upright, then I'm going to do 3 across like this and 4 coming into each other. And I'm going to have a perfect pallet. Once again, when you put your cases up on end, keep the high cases on the outside and the low cases on the inside. I promise you, because when you start getting your other cases, it's just going to work out. You want those corners to always be higher. Now, what can you 6 block up in perishable? Usually it's strawberries or things like that. All right. So 6 blocking, I call them stacked strawberries, guys. If I get 30 strawberries or even like 25 strawberries, I am stacking them up. All right. So let's say I get 36 strawberry, just for easy reference here. I'm going to go 6, 6, and 6. All right, I'm going to call them, stack them like this towards the front of my jack. I don't want them on the back if I can help it. That's why I didn't go straight down the side. I want my strawberries up here. So I'm going to go 6, 6, and 6. Or I might just stack them straight up on the front of my jack. Because they're open top boxes, I don't like stacking on them because they're hard to stack on. They got the little tabs on them. So guys, it's all about what warehouse you're in and what is coming up next. So this is why it's so important for you guys to establish that system within your probation weeks. So if I get 3 serials, I'm going to go 3 across, up on end, right across the front, you know, if I'm starting off with them, all right? Like, guys, all comes into play. But I'm just telling you that you could either 6 or 7 block serial. I don't want to put 3 flat going this way. I'd rather have them right up front. I'm leaving more wood exposed for other cases because usually when you're throwing serial, you're going to have other big cases coming as well. If I get 5 serial, this is an option, guys. You know, don't 5 block the serial flat because you're leaving way too many gaps. But I'm going to go 3 across and 2 down the side. And then I could have this open for a paper towel. All right, guys. So now there are some paper towels that come in a 7 block. And then once again, we're putting serials up on end, which I find it to be a lot easier sometimes. So let's say I get 4 serials. When would I do this? Okay, is whenever I have smaller cases coming. So if I was grabbing 4 serials and immediately afterwards I was getting smaller cases, I'm going to at least try to get this corner to match up with this one, and then I could start filling this in. But if I have bigger cases coming, then I would snug this up. Just like I said before with the 5 block, I would snug this up and go from there. But once again, it all depends on what you're throwing. All right, guys, now here's a picture of someone's order. They had 7 chickens, and they honestly, so they kept followed the block. All right, so it's 7 block came off the pallet. They're not going to switch this up and 6 block it. They're going to 7 block it. All right, so keep the same block. And I know it's a little blurry, but I want you to see is 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. So they had 28 of these, and as you could see, they rotated the block. So they had 7, and what I mean by that, guys, for new people, so we have 3 here. So the next one's going to be 3 over here with 4 in the back, and then just keep switching that rotation so it ties this pallet in with the same block. All right, so with that being said, these are a couple pictures from the person that went over. I believe they're the same person. This is one pallet. I just want to go over this real quick. We're forcing this row right here. It would have just have been a matter of turning a case and we could have fit on this pallet a lot better. I would have removed this whole corner, this Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Remember, guys, big cases on corners facing in. So either on top of the Ocean Spray or take the Ocean Spray out as well. And this cereal would have been right on the corner. If the Ocean Spray would have been facing inwards, remember, guys, cases pointing in when you're in this dry goods, this would have fit level. Don't please get out of the habit of tying heavy cases in from a high to a low. It's always going to get you in trouble. And if we don't fit, then something needs to go. These 2 Arizona tees could have been, faced on the front of the pallet. There's just a lot going on here. This is someone that needs to slow down. Yeah, see, this is the front. Too big of a gap on your first level. All right, way too big. We got cases that aren't even level, and then we added weight into this. When you add weight into a leaning thing like this, it's like magnifying it times 10. We got an oil up on end that would fit right in here. Be patient. All right, just because you have a gap doesn't mean there's not going to be a case that can't fit in there later. Or me personally, I would have just moved a couple cases around to make this first layer work. Your first layer on your pallet is so important, and to have a big hole like that is going to give you problems through the rest of your order. Remember, don't be afraid to just turn cases. If they don't fit one way, maybe they'll fit better the other way. But the more cases you have facing in. So this right here, if we would have faced this Ocean Spray in, got rid of this, I mean, there's just, this Quaker would have fit on top of the Ocean Spray. So the more cases you have pointing towards this middle line, the better, I promise you. Don't put the oils up on end. Don't put cases into a gap and try to squeeze cases in there. From your pallets earlier, you got a big problem with trying to squeeze all these cases in here, and we can't tie in high-lows, and we got to keep glass and everything upright. All right, if you have any more questions, let me know. Someone posted this. It's actually not a bad pallet. You do have slip sheets in there that is definitely going to help this. I find dairy one of the easiest to tie in. We're column stacking, which, yeah, you can get away with column stacking dairy, but it is so easy to tie this stuff in. I know it's a lot of cases. I know you got to tie in from a high to a low. It's because you put a slip sheet down and you were trying to get that level playing field in the middle of your pallet, which was not a bad idea. But all these cases right here should have been facing this way. You got to watch, whoever built this, you got to watch my crossing T videos, because the dairy, you can use it like a charm. I also want to say something. You have your small pallet back here, guys, and please inquire, because a lot of warehouses are very strict about you building up one tall pallet and leaving this one so they can top it off later. But there are small companies out there that don't fill their trucks, and they don't care if they send out multiple pallets. If you are in a warehouse that doesn't care if you build a full pallet, I would be splitting this right in half. Knowing my cube, knowing how big my pallet's going to be, I'm going to make 2 even pallets, because you're going to fly through this. It's not a bad looking pallet. I just don't like the columns. We do have slip sheets in there to help alleviate those columns. But yeah, I would say post more pictures and watch my crossing T videos. But once again, this person, if you crush these times and this is what's working for you, stick with it. I would definitely do things a lot differently, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean I'm right. If this is working for you, then stick with it. All right, guys, and I wanted to end on this. I know it's a little nasty, but this is one of our Discord members. They work in freezer, and they had the big hoops in their ears. And working in the freezer, their air split at the bottom. So I just want to throw it out there, because there is a lot of people that put those big gauges in their ears, the hoops. I don't even know what they're called, guys. But if you do that and you stretch out your earlobe and you're working in a freezer, just keep in mind that it may split. His split, and he was being definitely a good attitude about it, but just something I wanted to throw up there. All right, guys, I know a lot of rambling on. I'm trying to explain that block. I'm trying to get people, because every time I say don't do that in the crossing T is what I just went over with the block. It's people taking a case off of the pallet and putting it in a place that does not need to be in on their selecting pallet. So if we can get people to start following that block off of the pallet that is you're picking from, it's going to go a lot easier for you when you're selecting. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.